Hi everyone, I'm Rachel, and in this session, I'd like to address some aspects of academic writing that will help you in your final paper and beyond. I'll first talk about what is a thesis statement and why you'll need one. We'll then consider the writing of the argument in your paper and how to better back it up with evidence-based reasoning. Finally, we'll have you think about the through line of your argument in the organization or reorganization of your writing. A thesis statement is usually presented early on in the paper to tell the reader how you interpret the significance of the subject matter under discussion. In this case, you are asked to write about an assessment challenge that requires informed scholarship to address. So do review the feedback from the assignment 1 and the midterm paper and consider how you can act on the feedback to better substantiate your claim about the significance of the assessment challenge. You will also need to write in a manner to persuade the reader of the logic of the interpretation of the needful assessment change. Your final paper is essentially an enhanced version of your midterm paper with these additional elements. Firstly, the assessment challenge is analysed with more complexity. The better writing we've seen so far managed to do this by situating the assessment challenge within a larger context, for example, a policy reform initiative or against broader goals of education. Doing so will enable your paper to identify various concepts that could situate the assessment challenge and point to ways the challenge could be approached. This is premised on your claim on whether your assessment challenge is an existing problem or an unrealized potential or involves underlying issues which may be conceptual, a practice consideration, or a strategic issue. What also distinguishes the final paper from the midterm is the raising of critical questions or lines of inquiry and/or a well-supported course of action. So why do you need a thesis statement in your paper? A thesis statement is basically a roadmap of your paper, which gives the reader a heads up on what to expect. It presents your argument to the reader and helps signpost the organization of the writing. Now, let's look at two unmarked exemplars of thesis statement, and you decide which one is a better thesis based on how the argument is presented to the reader. Stop the video here and refer to exemplar A and B in your handout. Have you looked at exemplar A and B and decided which has a better thesis statement? If you have not done so, do it now. Would you agree that exemplar A presents a better thesis statement? The thesis statement here states the subject matter under consideration, which is the practice of on-site coaching of SDR instructors. The context is introduced in the opening sentences, so it comes as no surprise to the reader. The thesis statement tells you that the paper will first discuss the theoretical underpinnings of the current practice, which is based on behaviorism. Then it will proceed to make a claim or argument about how the behaviorist-informed practice of coaching inhibits the long-term learning of SDR instructors. Compared with exemplar A, in exemplar B, the reader was not cued in to the subject matter of student self-assessment by the opening sentences. The thesis statement here does not achieve the effect of giving the reader a clue on what the argument will be made in relation to the twofold objective mentioned. At this juncture, I hope you are persuaded why you need a thesis statement, and a good one, to guide your writing. So take some time now to look over your opening paragraphs of the paper and draft a working thesis statement that could guide your writing later on.